Welcome back. We have my final fantasy football video this year, which is pretty sad, but I'm definitely excited for the season. Today, we're going to end off with 7 bold predictions for this fantasy football season in 2022. Leave in the comments some of your bold predictions. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and let's get into it. Number 1 is that Packers running back Aaron Jones has 65 or more receptions in 2022. And why it's bold? Because Aaron Jones' career high in receptions is 52, which came last season. Now, why this could happen: Devontae Adams and Marquez Valdes-Scantling left the team. That is 224 targets gone from last year. Somebody has to take those. We know they got some rookie receivers in Christian Watts and Romeo Doubs, but we also know Aaron Rodgers does not usually trust his rookie receivers right away. But Aaron Jones ran the 8th most receiving routes for a running back in 2021. He also ran the 3rd most receiving routes from the outside, which trails Cordero Patterson, which makes sense, and Ezekiel Elliott, which kind of surprised me. And he also may be out there more as a slot receiver. If they want to get A.J. Dillon some carries, they can put Jones in the slot, make him a receiver. And Aaron Rodgers has said he wants the 11 most reliable and best guys on the field at all times. And if they feel that A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones on the field at the same time is best for the Packers, Aaron Jones may be a receiver a lot. Number 2, Bills wide receiver Stefon Diggs sees over 180 targets in 2022. Now, why it's bold: his career high in targets is 166. That came in 2020, his first season in Buffalo. And why it could happen: the Bills have one of the most explosive offenses in football, but they don't have a stud in between the tackles runner, which would mean they probably will pass the ball more than not. Sure, James Cook and even Devin Singletary are good players, but not guys you want to give 15 plus carries a game to. And Josh Allen loves throwing the ball to Stefon Diggs. Ever since he got there, he's had a 27% team target share his first year, and last year it was 28%. And for reference, anytime you see a guy like over 30%, that is like godly. So to be in 27-28% area, that is elite. And yes, I know Gabe Davis is emerging. I get that. I like Gabriel Davis myself. But now Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley are gone, and that's 184 targets that those guys took up last year. I know they have Isaiah McKenzie taking a bigger role. James Cook is here, but Stefon Diggs may be leaned on more this year than the past couple years. If Diggs is healthy all year, which he has not missed a game yet as a Buffalo Bill, then I could see this happening. Number 3, you know I had to do it. Trey Lance is a top 5 fantasy quarterback in 2022. Why it's bold: he's being drafted as the quarterback 13 right now. Now, why this could happen: Trey Lance's over-under for rushing yards right now on betting sites is 574.5. If he did that over 17 games, he'd have a floor of 3.3 fantasy points per week just on rushing alone. And I personally believe he will exceed 574 rushing yards. Now, if you take his rushing yards from his 3 starts last year and project it over a full season, he would have had over 900 rushing yards on the year. It's kind of like Lamar Jackson. I remember back to Lamar's rookie year, he played like half the season in 2018, his rookie year, and he was on pace for like 1,200 rushing yards if you put that over a full season. And then the next year, Lamar Jackson was ridiculous and won MVP and probably won a lot of people fantasy championships. He has one of the best situations in football with Kyle Shanahan calling plays, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk looks amazing in camp apparently, and George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in football. In Lance's 3 starts last year, in 2 of those games he scored over 20 fantasy points, and the one game he failed to reach 20 fantasy points, he was literally inches away from making that a 20-point performance because he was stopped on the 1-yard line. I understand the argument for Tom Brady and guys like Matthew Stafford, but at the quarterback position, taking one late, I want a guy that can just completely break out and win me a league. And Trey Lance has that upside. If you're in a 1-quarterback league and Trey Lance flops, then no biggie. Just pick up another quarterback off the, waiver wire and you'll be fine. But the upside of Lance, if he turns into 2019 Lamar Jackson, is definitely worth it. Number 4, wide receiver Allen Robinson scores 10 or more touchdowns in 2022. Why it's bold: Robinson has not scored more than 7 touchdowns since 2015. I know a lot of that was with Jacksonville and the Bears, but still. He did have 14 touchdowns in 2015, though, his second year, so we know he can do it. Now, why this could happen: this is the first time Allen Robinson gets to play with an actual good quarterback in his entire career. I like to think Matthew Stafford's right on the cusp of elite, so this is his best quarterback by far. And it's safe to assume that Robinson will take the role or a similar role to what Odell Beckham played down the stretch for the Rams last year. In Odell's 11 games with the Rams last year, he scored 7 touchdowns. And no, I'm not counting his first game because Odell played like 25% of snaps his first game as a Ram, but from there on out, he was scoring a lot of touchdowns. You know, the Rams, when healthy, are going to have one of the best offenses in football. Stafford had 40-plus passing touchdowns last year. And Cooper Kupp draws so much attention, rightfully so, that it will give opportunities for the 6'2", 220-pound Allen Robinson to catch a lot of balls in the end zone, hopefully. He's also another guy that apparently looks amazing in camp, and he just turned 29 years old, so he's still in his prime, on a new team, best quarterback of his career. I think he could score 10 plus touchdowns in 2022. Number 5, Adam Thielen is a top 20 wide receiver in 2022. You guys know I hyped up Thielen on my potential league winners video. Now, why this is bold, Thielen is drafted as the wide receiver 30 right now. And why this could happen, despite missing 4 games last year, Thielen still had 10 touchdowns and finished as the wide receiver 28. So you're essentially drafting him at his floor, which is pretty crazy. So not only did he score 10 touchdowns last year, the year before that in 2020, he had 14 touchdowns. With their new head coach, Kevin O'Connell, they're going to pass the ball way more than the time they did when they had Mike Zimmer as their head coach. And just like Allen Robinson, the media and beat writers are saying that Thielen's having an amazing camp as well. He's Kirk Cousins' go-to guy in the red zone. I know Justin Jefferson is amazing, a top 3 wide receiver talent in football, but he does love looking Adam Thielen's way, and I think with the increased passing volume and potential touchdown upside, Adam Thielen could be a top 20 wide receiver in 2022. Number 6, and I know this may trigger some because there's a big Michael Thomas fan base out there in fantasy football this year, but I have Chris Olave, the rookie wide receiver on the Saints, outscoring Michael Thomas in 2022. Why this is bold, Michael Thomas is being drafted as the wide receiver 28, and Olave is the wide receiver 43. Now, why this could happen, Michael Thomas, we have not seen the good version of him since COVID was a thing. It was 2019 the last time Michael Thomas had a huge season, and Thomas always excelled with Drew Brees as his quarterback. We saw some games with him and Taysom Hill, but for the majority of Michael Thomas's career, it was always Drew Brees as his quarterback. We don't know right now who Jameis Winston's going to connect with. I mean, obviously, Michael Thomas has missed time with his hamstring injury, and Chris Olave has been on the practice field, so those guys have probably built more chemistry as compared to Jameis Winston and Michael Thomas. And Thomas did miss all of the 2021 season with ankle surgery, and he missed half of 2020 with hamstring and ankle issues. As I just alluded to, on August 21st, he pulled his hamstring. He has not practiced since. Olave, on the other hand, is 7 years younger. He has not had a serious injury in his career, and the team gave up a lot to draft him. Olave is a guy that ran a 4.39 40. He knows how to get open. He has very reliable hands, and he can definitely outscore Michael Thomas if Thomas can't stay on the field. Now, if both guys do play 17 games and Michael Thomas looks like the 2018-2019 Michael Thomas, then he'll be fine, but I just don't really think we're going to see that. And last one, number 7, Irv Smith Jr., tight end of the Vikings, will be a top 10 tight end in 2022. Why it's bold, Irv Smith's being drafted as a tight end 15 right now. Now, why this could happen, Smith was a former 2nd round pick in the NFL draft. He is very talented. He was just not able to stay on the field at all last year. He was hyped up very much last year around this time, but he missed the entire season with a meniscus injury. Then in early August last month, he had thumb surgery and once again started falling down draft boards. But the Vikings do expect him to be ready for week 1, which is great news. Now, Smith has never had the tight end 1 spot to himself in Minnesota because he was sharing that with Kyle Rudolph when he was still a Viking. But there was a small sample size in 2020 when Kyle Rudolph missed the final 4 games of the 2020 season, and in those 4 games, Irv Smith put up 4 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown, 3 catches for 37 yards, 6 catches for 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns at New Orleans, and 2 catches for 30 yards. It's a bit inconsistent, but we saw when Irv Smith was the tight end 1, he was putting up big numbers. And that was the last time we saw Irv Smith play football. And over a 17-game pace, if you put those 4 games over 17 games without Kyle Rudolph, that would have given him a line of 64 catches, 778 yards, and 13 touchdowns. I don't think 13 touchdowns would happen, but that is easily a top 5 tight end if that ever happens. So with Smith, you're betting on the talent, you are betting on the opportunity, and you're betting on this offense throwing the ball more. The same argument for Adam Thielen. So that's going to do it for this video. That's going to do it for the fantasy football videos in 2022. Hopefully you guys enjoyed them. Once again, leave in the comments your bold predictions for this year, and I will talk to you guys next time.